Good morning, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the organizing committee, we welcome you to the VIDA Executive Summit 2024. We are delighted to have you here with us today as we explore where's the fraud protecting Indonesian businesses from AI-generated digital fraud. To formally commence our summit, we are honored to invite Mr. Nezar Patria, Vice Minister of Communication and Information Technology of the Republic of Indonesia, to deliver the opening remarks on the stage. Please join us in welcoming him with a warm round of applause.
Selamat pagi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, salam sehat bagi kita semua. Yang saya hormati, Founder and Group CEO VIDA, Bapak Niki Luhur, Ketua Dewan Komisioner Otoritas Jasa Keuangan, Bapak Mahendra Sirgar atau yang mewakili, Gubernur Bank Indonesia, Bapak Peri Warjio, atau yang mewakili, para pembicara, Bapak Ibu peserta perwakilan dari industri, media, pemerintah, dan partner, selamat pagi dan senang sekali bisa hadir di forum yang prestisius yang diselenggarakan oleh VIDA. Bapak Ibu sekalian, seperti kita ketahui, dalam dekade terakhir teknologi berkembang begitu pesat. Cutting edge teknologi sekarang luar biasa, dari yang namanya blockchain sampai dengan artificial intelligence. Saya kira ekosistem digital kita bergelut cukup antusias untuk menyambut teknologi-teknologi baru ini. Tentu saja teknologi itu membawa banyak manfaat dari sisi efisiensi maupun dari sisi bisnis, dan Indonesia seperti negara lain di dunia hari ini makin tergantung pada teknologi informasi dan digital. Namun hal ini juga meningkatkan risiko terhadap keamanan data dan sistem kita. Bapak Ibu sekalian, jumlah serangan siber di seluruh dunia meningkat secara signifikan. Berdasarkan data dari National Cybersecurity Index, pada tahun 2023, Indonesia berada pada peringkat ke-49 keamanan siber dari 176 negara. Sedangkan di kawasan ASEAN, Indonesia masuk peringkat 5 besar. Data dari BSSN atau Badan Siber dan Sandi Negara mencatat ratusan juta serangan cyber terhadap Indonesia setiap tahun. Pada tahun lalu, 2023, tercatat 279 juta serangan siber. Sementara dibanding tahun sebelumnya, serangan siber terhadap Indonesia makin naik dengan 24%. Kementerian Kominfo melalui layanan cekrekening.id sebagai sarana aduan masyarakat untuk melaporkan nomor rekening yang diduga menjadi sasaran tindak pidana penipuan, mencatat sebanyak 572.000 aduan terkait fraud atau penipuan online yang masuk melalui kanal layanan cek rekening sepanjang tahun 2017 sampai dengan 2024. Jenis fraud yang mendominasi adalah penipuan jual beli online dan investasi fiktif online. Bapak Ibu sekalian, untuk memberikan perlindungan terhadap ekosistem digital di Indonesia serta melakukan penegakan hukum dan pencegahan kejahatan cyber, Kementerian Kominfo sudah menyusun regulasi untuk melindungi ruang digital Indonesia dengan seperangkat undang-undang, yaitu Undang-Undang Nomor 1 Tahun 2024 tentang revisi kedua Undang-Undang Informasi dan Transaksi Elektronik dan Peraturan Pemerintah Nomor 71 Tahun 2019 tentang penyelenggaraan sistem dan transaksi elektronik, yang mana regulasi ini adalah bagian dari upaya pemerintah Indonesia untuk mengelola aktivitas di ranah elektronik dan digital agar lebih aman dan terpercaya. Pada dasarnya di dunia maya kita tidak pernah mengetahui dengan siapa kita bertransaksi. Ada sebuah quote yang sangat terkenal di internet, "On the internet, nobody knows you are a dog or a cat." Quote ini membuka mata kita bahwa ada risiko fraud yang tinggi dalam transaksi internet. Jaminan integritas atau keutuhan data yang ditransmisikan dari satu pihak ke pihak lain adalah satu keharusan dalam transaksi elektronik. Namun ada risiko bahwa dokumen yang ditransmisikan di dalam internet diubah oleh pihak ketiga yang tidak berhak, di mana hal ini memicu potensi kerugian sehingga perlu ada kontrol yang diterapkan. Ibu Bapak serta hadirin yang berbahagia, penggunaan tanda tangan elektronik adalah solusi terhadap masalah jaminan identitas dan integritas pada dokumen elektronik yang ditransaksikan dalam sistem elektronik. Namun, perlu diperhatikan bahwa tidak semua tanda tangan elektronik memiliki kekuatan hukum dan akibat hukum yang sah. Dalam Undang-Undang ITE ada 6 syarat yang harus dipenuhi untuk dapat memberikan jaminan identitas penandatanganan, integritas dokumen yang ditandatangani, dan faktor yang kita sebut sebagai faktor nirsangkal. Jaminan ini memberikan kepercayaan terhadap dokumen dan transaksi yang dilakukan secara elektronik, sehingga dapat memastikan keabsahan individu atau pihak yang bertransaksi. Oleh karena itu, muncul tanda tangan elektronik tersertifikasi dengan memanfaatkan teknologi infrastruktur kunci publik atau IKP yang menggunakan proses enkripsi, autentikasi, dan verifikasi identitas dan telah terbukti keamanannya. Dengan teknologi ini, sebuah dokumen akan dijamin integritas atau keutuhannya, identitas penandatangan, dan aspek nirsangkalnya. Bapak Ibu sekalian, penyelenggara sertifikasi elektronik atau PSRE sebagai penerbit sertifikasi elektronik dan penyelenggara TTE diawasi oleh Kominfo melalui sejumlah regulasi. Yang pertama, Peraturan Menteri Nomor 11 Tahun 2022 tentang tata kelola penyelenggara sertifikasi elektronik menjadi dasar bagi Kominfo dalam melakukan standarisasi operasional PSRE dan melakukan pengawasan terhadap PSRE. PSRE Indonesia menyediakan solusi tanda tangan digital yang mudah, efisien, dan berkekuatan hukum untuk menyederhanakan proses administrasi sekaligus mencegah penipuan dalam dokumen dan transaksi elektronik. Bahkan pemanfaatan teknologi AI dan sistem verifikasi identitas dengan menggunakan teknologi biometrik, liveness, dan teknologi lainnya dapat menurunkan angka cybercrime di Indonesia. Bapak Ibu sekalian, sebelum saya tutup dengan mengikuti acara VIDA Executive Summit 2024 ini, diharapkan semua pemimpin industri dan pemangku kepentingan mendapatkan wawasan dan pengetahuan yang komprehensif dalam mengadopsi strategi pertahanan dan keamanan siber terhadap ancaman-ancaman keamanan siber. Seperti yang pernah dikatakan penulis buku ternama John C. Maxwell, collaboration is multiplication. Adopsi teknologi pun membutuhkan kolaborasi multipihak dari sektor industri, pemerintah, serta pemangku kepentingan terkait guna memastikan terwujudnya ekosistem digital nasional yang aman, handal, dan terpercaya menuju Indonesia terkoneksi, makin digital, makin maju. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Santi Santi Om, Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Pak Nezar Patria, for your opening remarks. We now respectfully ask you to please stay on stage to receive a token of appreciation from VIDA, which will be presented to you by Pak Niki Luhur, Group CEO of VIDA, and Ibu Sati Rasuwanto, President of VIDA. Pak Niki, Ibu Sati, please kindly proceed to the stage. The token of appreciation moment will be followed by a photo opportunity. Please be ready to document. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are privileged to have a leading figure in cybersecurity, Mr. Mikko Hypponen, who will present our opening keynote. His presentation, Cybercrime Unmasked: Lessons from Global Cyber Heists, will provide us with invaluable insights into the evolving threats and the strategies to combat them. Ladies and gents, please welcome Mr. Mikko Hypponen to the stage.
Thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me over here to Jakarta. Thank you for having me indeed. My name is Mikko Hypponen. I am the Chief Research Officer for WithSecure Corporation, and I am a global cybersecurity expert. So how do you become a global expert in anything? To me, it was really simple. The way you become an expert is that you pick a field. I picked cybersecurity, and then you just work in the field forever. After you work in the field for decades, then everybody will assume that you must be an expert. And that's what I've done. I started analyzing malware in the very early 1990s. Back then, viruses were spreading on these. This here is a floppy disk. I'm very well aware that there's many people in the audience who have no idea what this is. But this is how we used to carry data from one computer to another. And this particular floppy is infected with a virus called Form, which was one of the most common viruses 30 years ago. Back then, cyber attacks were not spreading through the networks or through the internet. They were physically carried from one computer to another. And that seems like an awfully small problem when you compare it to the problems we have today, because we have global networks at our disposal today. But it was a very real problem back then. And that's how I started my career. I started looking at these early viruses and trying to decode how they worked. I worked with reverse engineering some of these early viruses that looked like this. This is VirusSoft from 1990, because back then viruses would show messages to users. You know you got infected by a piece of malware because your computer stopped working and you would get a message like these, or these, or these. These are all examples of the viruses I worked with in the beginning of my career. And I wouldn't believe if someone would have told me in the beginning of my career that the world is going to change. Eventually, the viruses that we saw back then would be written by a completely different kind of cyber criminals. Because all these early viruses were written by teenage boys for fun. That has changed. Today, when we look at the attackers, they're either making it for money or they're making it for a government, for espionage or for sabotage purposes. The time of happy hackers writing viruses, showing stupid messages to users, that's long gone. Today, it's mostly about fraud. It's mostly about money. And it's also a great example on how technology changes the world around us. Nothing changes the world as quickly and as much as technology revolutions. We've seen this over and over again. When you think about revolutions that we saw a long time ago, like electricity revolution, now it seems that electricity has been with us forever, but it really hasn't been a common thing for more than 150 years. But in those 150 years, electricity became completely mandatory. Modern societies don't work at all without electricity. And that's exactly what's happening right now with connectivity. Connectivity is going to become exactly as important for our societies than electricity. The connectivity revolution is only 30 years old. The internet revolution started in the 1990s, but already during these 30 years, it has become almost as important as electricity. Eventually, it's going to be exactly as important as electricity. And we are already in the middle of the next revolution, which is the artificial intelligence revolution or the generative AI revolution. And this revolution is probably going to be bigger than the internet revolution. And it's also the fastest revolution we've seen so far. It took a long time to get started, but when generative AI finally became a thing 2 years ago, it has changed the world very quickly. And we've only seen the very beginning of these revolutions. However, there's one thing we have to keep in mind. When we are faced with a big technology revolution, we tend to overestimate the speed of the revolution and underestimate the size of the revolution. What I mean by this is that when internet revolution started somewhere in the mid-1990s, we thought it would have been faster. Some of you still remember the dot-com boom of 1999 or 2000. During that time, the stock valuations were sky high because people were given promises about internet, how internet is going to change the world. Promises like, one day we will all be doing shopping online, or one day we will all be watching movies online. Well, of course, we are today doing that. We're all doing shopping online, we're all watching movies online, but we were not doing that in 1999 or 2000 or 2001. We were talking about it in 1999 or 2000, but it didn't become a reality until a decade later. But then when it did become true, the revolution was actually much bigger than what anybody would have expected. And I believe the same thing will happen with the AI revolution. It's already changing the world, but it's probably going to take a little bit longer than we think right now. But when it really happens, it's probably going to be bigger than what we can think right now. We can't imagine the ways it's going to change the world. Just like we couldn't imagine the ways internet changed the world. In 1999, nobody was thinking that the main tool for accessing the internet is going to be a device everybody has in their pockets. Because in 1999, everybody had computers, desktops. Something like that is going to happen with the AI revolution as well. It's going to be a slower revolution than we believe right now, but it's going to be a bigger revolution we can vision right now. And every technological revolution brings us upsides and downsides. And we cannot just choose the benefits. We will get the downsides as well. The internet revolution was the best thing ever. I love the internet. Connectivity brought us so many benefits, so many business opportunities, so many new forms of connectivity, so many new mechanisms for entertainment. But at the same time, it also brought us global crime and global risks. Today, when you think about the kinds of crime we are exposed to, big part of these crimes are completely free of geography. It doesn't matter where the criminals are. So let's talk about the criminals. The title of my talk is Cybercrime Unmasked. So let's unmask some cyber criminals. What do cyber criminals look like? How do they live their lives? Let's look at some pictures. Here we have Mr. Raymond Abbas, one of the caught cyber criminals. And when you scroll through his Instagram, you get a feeling about the kind of lifestyle cyber criminals are living. Driving around in Rolls Royces and Mercedes G-Series, flying around with private jets. Another example, this guy here is called Maxim Boyko. Headquartered in Moscow, he's posing with his piles of cash and Rolls Royces. This is the life of cyber criminals or people who launder money for cybercrime gangs. And the problem here is twofold. Problem number one, the money you can make with cybercrime is significant. Problem number two, these guys posting images of their lifestyle only breeds more new cyber criminals. Smart kids who have technology skills living in environments where they might not have the same opportunities as everyone else, they see these and they look up to these crime leaders. I want to do that. I want to drive a Rolls Royce. I want to get rich. And the quickest and easiest way to do that for many technology-equipped people might be to go into life of crime. And that's the problem. That's what we really should be capable of avoiding. We must be better in catching online criminals, not just to take them away from the market, but also to show to potential newcomers into the life of crime that crime doesn't pay. Not even online crime. Online crime doesn't pay either. That's what we should be able to show to people looking up to these criminals. And crime has changed. It's changed because the internet has no geography. There's no borders, there are no distances, and there is no geography online. Now let me illustrate this to you with this movie. Some of you might remember the original Ocean's 11 movie starring George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and Matt Damon. In this movie, this group of gentlemen thieves create a daring heist where they break into the vaults of the two largest casinos in Las Vegas, MGM Grand and Bellagio, and then they steal tens of millions of dollars in cash from the vaults of these casinos. All right, that's a movie, but that's sort of what traditional crime looked like. You have a group of thieves physically going somewhere to steal physical cash. All right, let's see what's happening in the real world.
Back here at home in Las Vegas, a massive data breach. Caesars confirms it was hit by hackers who got guests' private information. Meanwhile, another apparent cyber attack has MGM resorts reeling. Miguel Almaguer reports.
This is from last year, and this is not a movie. This is real. Cybercriminals hit the very same two casinos as we saw in the movie. They hit MGM Grand and Bellagio. And again, they stole tens of millions of dollars, except this time they didn't steal cash from the vaults. They were using ransomware to lock these computers and then demand a Bitcoin payment for the ransom in order to unlock the systems. One of the large casinos, Caesar's Palace, actually paid the ransom, netting the criminals tens of millions of dollars. And the more companies pay the ransom, the bigger this problem becomes. It's really easy for us to say, never pay the ransom, whether you're a consumer being targeted with a scam or having your photos stolen, or a large enterprise or company getting hit by ransomware. Saying and giving the advice that don't pay the ransom, that's easy to do. Then actually not doing it is a totally different story. If your operations are shut down, if your patent applications and private information is about to be leaked, the decision makers at the top level of these companies have a really hard choice to make. And this problem is only getting bigger. We've been tracking ransomware attacks for a decade now. Bitcoin-enabled ransomware attacks started in 2013. And for a while, we were keeping this like a map of different ransomware families until the map became so large I couldn't fit it on a single slide anymore. And it's not just that these ransomware attacks are hitting companies and locking their systems. In addition of locking the systems and encrypting all the data, these groups also steal the information, like email archives and data document archives from these companies. And if you don't pay the ransom, you end up on a leak site. That's what a leak site looks like. That's the leak site of Lockbit. Lockbit is one of the largest ransomware gangs in the world. This website is running in Tor hidden service, and it lists all the companies this group has attacked. Now, I meet a lot of companies. I meet a lot of CISOs and CSOs and CTOs and CEOs. And I haven't yet met a member of a leadership team or a board member of a large company who would estimate that we're going to be hit next. Nobody expects to be hit next. The typical comment I hear from leadership team members or board members is that, why would they hit us? We're not that interesting. We're not that big. We're not that visible. We don't have a huge brand. We're in a faraway country. Why would the attackers hit ransomware against our systems? Certainly they will go after someone else. And what I always show to these leaders is a leak site. I take out my computer, I connect to Tor, and I go to the leak site simply to show them how large these leak sites are. Just scroll around and show them how many companies have been hit today, or last week, or last month. Because the list of companies that have been hit doesn't end. There's more and more companies from all over the world. Organizations of all kinds, of all sizes, from everywhere. Small companies, large companies, enterprises, public sector, private sector. It's as if someone would have shot at the internet with a shotgun hitting random targets. And when they see just how many victims there are, they realize that if these companies were hit, we can be hit as well. And the reason why it looks so random is that these groups, they don't choose a particular victim. They don't have a list of companies to hit. No, they start from a vulnerability. Like, we have a way in. There's this vulnerable piece of software. If somebody's running that software, we know we can get into their networks. Then they simply scan the whole internet. IPv4 address space has 4.2 billion IP addresses. You can scan it in 5 hours. In 5 hours, they have a list of every single organization in the world that they can break into. And that list is fairly random. And that's exactly why this list looks random. And this is a completely global problem. On this list, right next to each other, you have a furniture manufacturing company out of Denmark, then a bank from Canada, then a steel company from Vietnam. All business areas from everywhere in the world. And of course, some of the victims are local here in Indonesia as well. There's been plenty of news about attacks right here in Indonesia by some of the largest ransomware gangs. In fact, if you go to these lists of victim companies and just search for Indonesia, you'll find plenty of examples of Indonesian organizations getting hit. So Lockbit is one of these gangs. That's far from the only one. If you look at the largest ransomware groups, there's groups like Snatch and QuantumX, Akira, Black Pasta, and on and on. I call these groups cybercrime unicorns. These are unicorns, just like in startup tech sector, when a startup grows big enough, we start to call it a unicorn. Well, if these would be companies, they would be considered to be unicorns. If you look at their revenue, if you look at their profit, if you look at their growth, they absolutely would be unicorns. But of course, these are grime groups. They will never be doing an IPO. There will never be an exit for them. But that's a good way of thinking about how large this problem has become. Another thing which is interesting is branding. These groups, they have a name, they have a website, they have a logo. These are crime groups branding themselves, which might sound weird, like why would an organized crime group build a brand for themselves? But then again, if you think about real world organized crime, well, they do branding as well. Groups like Hells Angels or Bandidos or Los Zetas or Yakuza or Cosa Nostra. Some of the best known brands in the world are criminal brands, scary brands, brands like Hells Angels. These are very well known brands which are scary, and that's exactly what these cybercrime organized crime groups are trying to build. Groups like Lockbit and Akira are building a brand which is known around the world and a brand which is scary. Now imagine that you work for the IT department of a company and you come to the office Monday morning only to realize that, oh my God, we've been hit by ransomware. And then, oh my God, it's Lockbit. Oh my God, it's QuantumX. Oh my God, it's Akira. Because you know these groups by name. You know them by reputation. You know this is serious. You know that these attackers know what they're doing. You know that there's no way of getting your files back. But you also know that if you pay the ransom, they will deliver. So they're building a reputation that they're criminals, but that they are honest criminals. They're building a reputation that they're criminals you can do business with. They need to have a reputation because otherwise no one would pay the ransom. If they would have a reputation that paying doesn't work, or if you pay, you still don't get your files back, nobody would pay. So they do try to deliver what they promise. And these brands have become so strong, people are even taking tattoos of the logos of these groups. That's how strong brands they are. Just like people are taking Hells Angels tattoos, some people are taking Lockbit tattoos. One of the best known groups was known as Evil Corp. This group no longer exists. It was dismantled 2 years ago. Evil Corp, also known as R-Evil, was run by a guy called Maxim Jakubets, and this is Maxim's Lamborghini. In fact, here's a photo from downtown Moscow. You can see Maxim driving in the traffic with his Lambo. On both of his sides are his armed sergeants. The way it works in Russian cybercrime is that the big boss gets the Lambo, the sergeants get the Audis. That's the way it goes. Here's Maxim doing donuts in Moscow traffic. So how come this group doesn't exist anymore? It's because of him. R-Evil attacked Colonial Pipeline and JBS Foods, both American companies and both examples of critical infrastructure. Colonial Pipeline is the second largest oil and gas network in North America. JBS Foods is the largest meat producer on the planet. Clearly, they're both critical infrastructure. And when R-Evil group attacked Colonial Pipeline and JBS Foods, that woke up US President. When President Biden had private meetings with President Putin about how to take some control of these Russian cybercrime gangs, which are not directly part of the Russian government, but do operate from Russia. And then US State Department started offering $10 million rewards for information leading to the arrest of members of this gang. $10 million to anybody who provides information which leads to arrest of R-Evil cybercrime gang leadership. That's the same amount of reward US State Department has been offering for information leading to the arrest of terrorist leaders. So US government is taking cybercrime as seriously as they are taking terrorism. And these kind of rewards work because you don't just get $10 million, you also get immunity from prosecution. Now imagine that you are a member of a crime gang like this. You're a member of R-Evil, and then you see the news. US State Department is offering me $10 million if I rat all my friends. If I rat my friends, all my friends will go to jail, but I won't. I'm going to get immunity and I'm going to get $10 million. And then you realize that all of your friends are reading the news as well. So the first one to move wins everything and everyone else loses everything. It becomes a game theory experiment very quickly. And this works. This is why R-Evil is no longer operational. So cybercrime gangs like Lockbit and R-Evil exist to make money. That's why we call them cybercrime. But governments are involved in attacks as well. When we look at the offensive attacks launched by government agencies, militaries, or intelligence agencies, they've traditionally had one of two motives. It's either been about espionage or about sabotage. Espionage makes a lot of sense because information has changed. Spying and espionage is about collecting information, and information has changed. When you think about spies, old school spies were like James Bond. James Bond would go to the information to steal the information because information used to look like this. It used to be physical. It used to be something you could touch. If you want to steal my notes, you have to come to me. I'm right now in Jakarta. You have to come to Jakarta to steal this piece of paper. This is what spying used to be like. You have to find physically where the information was, and then you went there. Well, today information is data. Almost all of the information we generate is not on paper. It's on our computers. It's in our networks, and you don't have to go anywhere to gain access to that information. This is why spies have moved online. And then we have governmental attacks which are sabotage. with some well-known historical examples like Stuxnet, which was the attack from US and Israeli governments to attack the nuclear enrichment program of Iran. And they managed to delay the Iranian nuclear program by several years with cyber attacks. That's not espionage, that's actually sabotage. They were destroying devices with cyber attacks. And when sabotage happens during wartime, then we don't call it sabotage, then we call it war. And that's exactly what's happening right now, for example, in Ukraine. Russian military is launching destructive cyber attacks on Ukrainian civilians. And we don't call it sabotage, we call it cyber war. Cyber war is a very real thing, but it does require a real war to be happening for us to call it cyber war. Otherwise, it's just cyber sabotage. So I told you that all the governmental attacks are either espionage or sabotage. But there is one exception. One exception. One government which is not doing government-funded and government-operated cyber attacks for espionage or for sabotage, but actually makes them to steal money. And that government is North Korea. North Korea is the only country in the world which has over and over again done cyber attacks in order to steal money from other governments or even from private companies. Why? Because North Korea is the most heavily sanctioned country in the world. So they're doing cyber attacks to fix their budget deficit. Maybe the best known attack from North Korean government was the so-called SWIFT attack targeting multiple banks, most famously the Bangladeshi National Bank. They tried stealing close to $900 million from the National Bank of Bangladesh. They succeeded in stealing $81 million. And they've done this over and over again. We've seen this multiple times where North Korean hackers working for the North Korean government are using international banking networks to try to gain access to foreign funds. They've also done similar attacks targeting cryptocurrency systems. North Korean hackers have multiple times hacked into cryptocurrency exchanges to steal Bitcoin and Ethereum and other cryptocurrencies. They love cryptocurrencies. Why? Because you cannot sanction cryptocurrencies. It's easy to sanction dollars or euros or any of the real world currencies. It's impossible to sanction cryptocurrencies because cryptocurrencies are currencies based on mathematics. And mathematics don't care about your sanctions. We cannot change math with politics. That's why countries under sanctions love cryptocurrencies. And cryptocurrency revolution is yet another example of a technology revolution which brings us upsides but also downsides. And we cannot choose just the upsides. We will get the downsides whether we like them or not. In fact, what is the biggest theft in history? The biggest theft, the biggest heist, the largest amount of money ever stolen by anybody. You might be thinking about some big bank robberies or maybe some famous art heists or diamond heists, and you would be wrong. The biggest theft in history happened last year when North Korean government hackers hacked into a system called Axie Infinity and stole $625 million worth of cryptocurrency. It didn't make big headlines, but it should have, because that's the biggest theft in history. Like, you couldn't even steal $625 million without technology, without computers, without the internet, and without cryptocurrencies. And that happened last year. Now, it's fairly easy to launder money if it's already cryptocurrency. But what about this? With the Bangladeshi bank heist, North Korean government hackers stole successfully $81 million, and that's dollars. So how do you launder it? How do you get that money into North Korea so they can use it to fund their nuclear arms program? Well, the way they did it here was that they moved the money to Philippines, to Manila, to two casinos, Casino Soler and Casino Midas, where they cashed tens of millions of dollars into gaming chips. And then they had physical people playing games with these chips, laundering the money in casinos. So how do we know this was North Korea? Well, we know it was North Korea because 2 years earlier we investigated the hack of Sony Pictures in the United States. Sony Pictures, the movie studio, was hacked because they put out a movie which was laughing to the North Korean leader. And as an end result, Sony Pictures was hacked by North Korean hackers. And when we investigated the case, amongst the data stealing routines of the malware, we found this password, which we never made public anywhere. And the very same password was used 2 years later in one part of the code, which was used in the Bangladeshi bank heist. No one else knew about the password. It is North Korea. And if you're interested in this case, which is one of the biggest cyber cases in history, there's actually a whole movie about this. The movie came out earlier this year. It's called $1 Billion Heist. I know because I am in the movie myself. In fact, well, yeah. Fun fact, the photo you see here, I took this photo myself on Qatar Airways as I was flying from Doha to Melbourne. You can see from Doha to Melbourne in the corner over there. They were actually playing this movie on Qatar Airways. And I remember I was browsing through the different movies and I saw that, well, hey, $1 Billion Heist, I know this movie. And I started playing it, and then I was showing the flight crew that, hey, look at this, that's me. And they were like, yes, that's you, that's true, it is you. That's a bit meta, but it's a good movie, I recommend it. So if these technology revolutions are changing the world for the better, but also for the worse, we are now faced with the biggest shift in technology ever because of generative artificial intelligence. And as we start speaking about AI, I, of course, have to show you a deepfake video.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Mikko, and I hunt hackers. Thank you all for joining our conference today. It's great to see you all. Greetings, everyone. My name is Mikko, and I hunt hackers. Thank you all for joining our conference today. It's great to see you all.
Here on the left, we have Laura, our threat intel lead, and here on right, we have Mikko. Laura is real, Mikko is fake. But it's a pretty good deepfake. This is the level of homemade deepfakes today. This is what you can do on one home computer. And the end result is so good that to me, it looks like me. And I should know because I am me. So you can fool people fairly easily, even with homemade deepfakes today. And this has grand implications to all of us. Humans have great capability of recognizing faces. For millions of years, our genes have been built so that we can recognize each other. Many animals recognize themselves from things like smell or the way they move. We recognize each other from faces. So we've learned to identify each other from faces, and we can no longer trust that. This is one of the reasons why identity is so important, and being able to do secure identity verification is so important. And this field is moving very fast. In May, I was in San Francisco, I needed a car to take me to a hotel, so I ordered a car with my mobile phone. But instead of using Uber or Grab or Lyft, I ordered a car with a mobile app called Waymo. Waymo drives cars looking like that. Here's a video I took inside of Waymo as I'm sitting on the passenger seat. This car, without a driver, was taking me to my destination in the middle of traffic jams, in the middle of rush hour, avoiding pedestrians jumping on the streets and several roadworks. And it cost me less than a half of what an Uber would have cost me because there was no human driving the car. This is already happening today. The world is changing very quickly because of generative AI. So let's talk about that. Generative AI. Generative AI sounds more impressive than what it really is. Generative AI is a machine learning system that can generate content. That's why we call it generative AI. You show it content, and then it can generate content like that. You show it text, and then it can generate text. You show it text in English, and it can make English text. You show it text in Indonesian, it makes Indonesian text. You show an algorithm movies, and then it can generate movies. You show it music, and it can do music. That's all it is. It's a generator. But we've been waiting for the capability of do this at this scale for decades. The first time I read about artificial intelligence was in 1983, when I was a teenager. So for 40 years, we've been waiting for two things. Number one, for all information to be turned into data. And that's where we are today. Today, all information is data, which means we can feed it into computers. And then, number two, we've been waiting for computing power, that we can actually take all of mankind's knowledge, all of the information we've generated, and have these machines learn it. So, today, every book written by humans anywhere in the world is available as data, as bits. Almost every book ever written. And we have fed all of these books into these large language models. That's how they learned all human languages. Then we've fed all code that you can find from services like GitHub into these large language models. And they learned all programming languages. But maybe the best example on how quickly generative AI is changing right now is from this slide that I showed to our customers and clients in an event a year ago. 12 months ago, we had a customer meeting, and I was speaking about how quickly we are seeing new projects come out. Some of these projects don't even exist anymore because they've changed names. But one project I mentioned in particular was called Music LM. And I did a demonstration a year ago. I gave a prompt to a music generator. Make me a song like this. And you can hear from the music that it's basically what the prompt is. Give me a song with a rising synth, with a lot of arpeggio and reverb. And that's what it did. All right. Not too bad. Not too impressive either. It's not going to be a major hit, is it? But it might be something you could hear in the background in a shopping mall or in an elevator. That was a year ago. Earlier this year, I made a forecast that during 2024, we will see a top 40 hit made entirely by artificial intelligence. Some of you have heard songs made by systems like Suno or Udio, and they are becoming surprisingly good. I made the forecast in May, a couple of months ago. Right now, at this very moment, there's a song called Wer knallt in ein Talahun, trending in the German and Austrian top 40 charts. It's a German song. When I checked yesterday, it was at number 27 in Germany and somewhere in the top 40 in Austria. It's a song made entirely by artificial intelligence with the system called Udio. You give it a prompt, give me a song about teenage boys smoking vapes and wearing Gucci clothes and how a girl falls in love with these boys. That's what the song is about. And then this system has composed the song, arranged the song, played the song, written lyrics for the song, and then it has sang the song. Would you like to hear the song? Here's the song.
Letzte Woche Kirmes war anders wild. Ich hab mit den Chayas am Autoscooter gechillt. Da hab ich einen Talerhuhn aus der Ferne erkannt. Mit Seiten auf Null und Vape in der Hand. Er hat ne dicke Schale und wirkt richtig hart. Aber er fragt jeden Kerl, ob er Probleme hat. Ich glaube, ich bin verknallt in einen Talerhuhn.
All right.
Mit Louis Gürtel, Gucci
Pretty
Cap
good.
und Air Max Schuhen.
It's not a bad song. And maybe a bit surprising, really. Maybe not exactly what you expect an artificial intelligence song to sound like. But that song, in its entirety, is made by a machine. No humans involved. No humans playing any instruments or singing anything. All the lyrics, which of course are German, are written by a machine. This is where we are today. And this poses great questions to us. Like, for example, the song is right now making a lot of money in Germany. Who gets the royalties? The machine? The algorithm? The person who wrote the prompt, which is just one sentence? The company which made the algorithms? Or maybe the songs which were used to teach the algorithm? Maybe the creators of those songs should be getting credit as well. Great questions, and we don't have answers for them. But we used to think that only humans can make creative things. Only humans can make art. And clearly, that's changing. And I don't like this. I hate the idea that the best poets in the world will be machines, or that the best songs will be made by machines. But that's where we're going. Now, there's still room for humans as well. I think we will still want to see a real rock star playing a real guitar on a real stage instead of a robot, but most likely many of the songs they will be playing in the future will be made by machines. I'm not a big fan of creative things being replaced with algorithms, but clearly that's where we're going. And one of the creative things that will be replaced by machines is writing code. Programming is an art form, just like making songs. And that's going to be replaced with machines as well. Which means this revolution will be the first revolution which will be able to improve itself. We will see AI systems that will be able to modify their own code, improving their own performance. We're not there yet, but that's the direction where we're going. And this technological revolution is the first technological revolution in history which is destroying white-collar jobs instead of blue-collar jobs. All the previous revolutions, like Industrial Revolution or electricity, took away a lot of jobs from people who were doing physical labor. Well, this revolution doesn't take away any jobs from people doing physical labor. But it's taking a lot of jobs away from people doing things like writing code, or, for example, from lawyers. Every revolution has upsides and downsides. We don't just get to choose the upsides. One example of the downsides are scams fueled by deepfakes. Most of these deepfakes that we've seen in real attacks are targeting consumers, and they recycle well-known celebrities like Mr. Beast or Elon Musk.
Hello, everyone. I'm here to tell you about the Neuralink crypto token, the new cryptocurrency that will change the world forever. With this token, you have a unique opportunity to invest in the future of brain-machine interfaces.
Don't believe the video. Don't invest your money in a Neuralink crypto token. It's a scam. And it's a great example of the kinds of scams we see everywhere. If you look at these cyber problems that consumers face today, the number one problem is no longer that your computer will get infected by a virus. The number one problem today is getting targeted with a scam. Investment scam, cryptocurrency scam, auction scam, eBay scam, Airbnb scam, romance scam. That's the most likely thing you're going to get hit with. Someone fools you. Someone claims to be someone else that they are. Someone uses technical tricks to fool you or steals your account, steals your identity. And some of these scams are really cruel. Romance scams are especially tough on the victims. Over 50% of relationships today start online. People fall in love online all the time. Scammers use this against the victims. And when the victims finally realize that they've been scammed, they don't only lose their money, they also lose the love of their life. This makes romance scams an especially cruel form of crime. But we see this all the time. Consumers face problems with scams like these. Companies face problems with deepfake attacks. We've already seen attacks where the voices of CEOs have been stolen to make phone calls to other people, typically to change account numbers or to send companies money to wrong places. We haven't yet seen examples, or we don't have evidence of examples of real-time face swaps in Teams calls or things like that, but it's only a matter of time. They might have already happened, we just don't have any recording of a single case like that. What we have so far is voice swaps, which are happening right now. But it doesn't really matter what's happening right now, the direction is clear. Identity theft with stealing faces is a very real problem in the future. And this requires a change in attitude, a change in the way we think about identity and the way we think about video. Like if you see someone online, can you really trust that that's real? If you see a politician making a talk in a YouTube video, do you know that that's what he really said? And this reminds me of what happened with Photoshop. When Adobe released Photoshop in the 1990s, suddenly everybody could modify photos and the end results would be perfect. You wouldn't be able to tell from a still picture that it has been modified. Now, of course, it was possible to modify pictures before Photoshop, but it was hard, expensive. Now, suddenly anybody could do it. And that changed the way we looked at photos. We didn't believe our eyes anymore. Even if you saw a photo and it seemed incredible, you would think that, okay, that's probably photoshopped. That's probably not real. We changed the way we looked at images because of a technical change. And that's what's going to happen now with video. Modifying video has been possible for many, many years. Hollywood has been making deepfakes for years and years. But now anybody can do it. And that's going to change the way we look at video, or it should change the way we look at video. We shouldn't just trust what we see. What other kinds of solutions should we be thinking about in this technology revolution? Well, one thing that we have to think about is what kind of rights do these new kinds of AI agents get? We don't want to give privacy rights to AI systems or drones. We must not let them own things, because if one thing which is worrying is an AI agent gone rogue. What's even more worrying is a rich AI agent going rogue. Because we already have examples where AI systems are able to move money and gather wealth. And that's clearly going to be problematic. One thing we can do to fight deepfakes is to make sure as much of the source material that's needed to teach these systems as possible can be attributed back to the source. So TV stations and radio stations, they should be publishing all of their source material. So when they do an interview with a politician, they should take the original interview and just post it on their file server, signed with cryptographic keys, so we know that this is the original. Then later, if you see a modified version of the interview and the politician is saying something surprising, anybody could double check it. You could just go to the source material and see if he actually said it in the source material or if it has been modified. And I'm not claiming that everybody would double check everything. Of course not. But one person would. Someone would double check if that's really true, and if it's not true, they would blow the whistle. And we are more and more engaged with AI agents. If you go to a tech support site, if there's a chat support, it's highly likely that it's already an AI. And more of the systems where you call a tech support phone line, the person you're speaking with is not a person at all. It's an AI. And this makes a lot of sense. Tech support being done by AI systems is probably better than tech support done by humans. Because the AI will remember everything. It has read every manual, every support notice, every white paper, and it remembers everything, unlike humans. But we humans should be told when we are interacting with AI, especially if it looks like we're interacting with humans. We should be told that, by the way, this is not a human. It doesn't really change anything. We probably still prefer to get the information from that source because it's probably better than a human. But I think it's important that we know when we are interacting with humans and when we are interacting with machines. And being able to do strong authentication and identification of real humans is a key ingredient in all of this. And that's exactly what VIDA is doing. It's a crucial building block of the whole tech economy that needs to be there so we can build all the other services on top of it. And let me just finish by noting that one of the things that AI will enable in cybersecurity is the discovery of completely unknown security vulnerabilities. AI systems will be able to look at source code and find vulnerabilities and create exploits against those vulnerabilities. They will be able to find 0 days. And this is excellent if it's you who's trying to find vulnerabilities in your own code so you can fix the vulnerabilities before you ship the code. And this is awful when it's someone else trying to find these vulnerabilities in your code so they could break into your systems. Once again, we get upsides and downsides, and we don't just get to choose the upsides. We will get the downsides as well. And this theme of technology revolutions bringing us upsides and downsides is the main theme of my latest book. So if you're interested in how technology revolutions change the world, there's more of this available in If It's Smart, It's Vulnerable. Technology changes the world faster than anything else ever before. We need to adapt with the change. I wish you good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mikko Hypponen, for your insightful keynote presentation. Sebelum kita melanjutkan acara, kami mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Wakil Menteri Komunikasi dan Informatika Republik Indonesia, Bapak Nezar Patria, atas kedatangan beliau dalam acara hari ini. Terima kasih banyak Bapak dan selamat kembali melanjutkan tugas. now, ladies and gentlemen, we move to the highlight of our event, a session we've all been eagerly anticipating. We are pleased to introduce a visionary leader who has been at the forefront of driving innovation and excellence at VIDA. Please join us in giving a warm applause to Mr. Nicky Luhur, Group CEO of VIDA. Today, he will present VIDA's latest solutions, showcasing how they are set to redefine digital security and transform the way businesses safeguard their operation. Let's welcome Mr. Nicky Luhur.
Good morning, everyone. Selamat pagi, Bapak-Bapak dan Ibu-Ibu yang saya hormati. Terima kasih sekali atas kedatangan Bapak-Bapak dan Ibu-Ibu ke acara VIDA. Welcome, everyone, and welcome to Where's the Fraud? Today, we're going to go on a journey through the world of digital fraud, and how VIDA will help you stop it. Right now, we stand at a crossroads. Technology has transformed our world. It's changed how we live, work, and connect. But as our digital lives have evolved, so too have the threats we face. Let's take a journey through time. Remember your first computer? The first time you used a computer? Do you remember connecting to the internet with a dial-up modem? The dino. Do you remember the excitement of getting your first 1 gigabyte hard drive and wondering, how am I ever going to fill this? It's impossible. Do you remember your first handphone? I had a Nokia 3310, just like this one. Who had one of these? Do you remember playing Snake? That was the only game we could have. Those were simpler times. Today, we carry supercomputers in our pockets, more powerful than we ever imagined. We shop, bank, and socialize online without a second thought. It's just everyday life. We take it for granted. Our lives are digital. Our identities are digital. And that's incredible. But there's a darker side to this story. As technology advanced, so did fraud. In the early days, scams were simple, obvious even. Remember those emails from supposed princes? Or the cheesy announcements that you just won $10 million? Do you remember those? We've come a long way since then. Today's fraudsters are sophisticated. Today's fraudsters are organized. They're relentless. They use AI. They use machine learning, large language models, just like we do. They create deepfakes, launch complex phishing attacks, and exploit vulnerabilities that we didn't even know existed. The rate of change of this technology is mind-blowing. Here's what an AI-generated image looked like just 2 years ago, in 2022. And here's what it looked like now. And that's just a photo. The Flux model just released this video. and this one. Here's how easy it is to make. Here's an image of me, one still photo of me at an event, actually a FinTech Association event, just a few years ago. With a single image, they can create a video of me, as if it was real. Now, let's take a look at these 4 people on the screen. We'll have a quiz. Can you tell me which one is real? Anyone? It's actually a trick question. None of them are real. We can't even tell the difference. And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of a Gen AI revolution. The stakes have never been higher. As you saw earlier, banks lose billions to fraud each year. Billions of dollars. Insurance companies struggle with fake claims. E-commerce companies, platforms fight a constant battle against fake accounts and chargebacks. But it's not just about money. It's about trust. It's about security. It's about our very identities. Every time fraud succeeds, it erodes the foundation of our digital society. Trust. I'm going to share with you a story of Nilu Putu Rustini, a babysitter from Bali. She lost her savings of 37 million rupiah in a bank in Mungu, Badung. The money she saved over several years vanished, leaving her with just 800,000 rupiah. She only discovered it when she tried to make a transaction to renovate her house. There was no warning message, no SMS, no email, no mobile bank app notification, nothing. However, when she checked her bank statement, only then she realized there were 2 unauthorized transfers to an unknown virtual account number. Stories like this are the inspiration for us starting VIDA 6 years ago in 2018. We saw the transformation right in front of our eyes. Indonesia went through a huge tech boom. And as people came online, a whole new world of possibilities opened up. Access to finance, access to loans, access to health, to insurance policies, to consultation online. Being able to purchase on an e-commerce page things people never had access to. You can't go physically to a mall to buy it. It doesn't exist. But little did they know, a new world of possibilities also opened up for fraudsters. Today, online fraud cases in Indonesia are $5 billion, or 77 triliun rupiah. Di Indonesia, ini bukan di luar negeri, ini di tanah air kita. 77 triliun rupiah setiap tahun. That is the scale of fraud in Indonesia today. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to be harder. So what do? We're going to fight back. We innovate. We stay one step ahead. That's why investing in advanced fraud prevention isn't just important, it's critical. It's not just a cost, it's an investment in your future, it's an investment in our future. Because here's the truth, the fraudsters won't stop. They won't stop evolving. So neither can we. That's why I'm excited to have all of you here, to welcome you here today at VIDA's event. We'll talk about a new suite of solutions from VIDA. Solutions designed to protect your business, your customers, and our shared digital future. Because when we secure our digital world, we unlock its full potential. We enable innovation. We build trust. We shape the future. Together, we can create a safer digital world. A world where technology empowers us instead of endangering us. A world where digital identities are sacred and the digital trust is unbreakable. To start our journey today, we'll take a new look at AI-generated fraud and how it has evolved here in Indonesia. I'd like to welcome Adrian Anwar, our Managing Director at VIDA, to help share what we've discovered. Mas Adrian.
Selamat siang Bapak Ibu sekalian. On a show of hands, mungkin angkat tangan sedikit. Siapa yang pernah di handphonenya, di message, di chat, ada terkena fraud, exposed to fraud? Boleh angkat tangan? Wah, banyak banget ya. Thank you for the lighting. I think these are a proof that every one of us is actually exposed to these kind of frauds that we just speak all morning. Whoever has probably some emails or chat messages, right? Kita nggak tahu sendersnya, tadi contoh-contoh banyak sekali, right? And a quick stats, actually we are the 99% of Indonesian who have been exposed to fraud attempts. 99%. VIDA has dived deep into the world of fraud. We were looking to uncover what it is that puts our business at risk. We recently conducted research that helped us classify just that. Where's the fraud that possess the biggest financial burden on our businesses? In Indonesia, there are 4 main types of fraud. These are the 4 that put our online transaction at risk at most. First, we talk all about morning, AI-generated fraud. The buzz around AI has been on top of everyone's mind for the last few years. We have seen billions of dollars being invested into things like LLM, large language models, AI-generated content creation, and AI-enhanced productivity tools. Companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, Midjourney have changed the way we live, the way we work, the way we produce things, the way we communicate. But AI has a dark side. In the last few years, AI-generated fraud globally has increased significantly, and deepfake itself, deepfake fraud grew 1,540%. Yes, that's not a typo. Yeah, 1,540%. Just from 2022 to 2023 in just 1 year. This is the stats in APAC. This includes things like photo and video deepfakes, voice cloning, and other types of impersonation attempts. Deloitte predicts that deepfake fraud will rapidly increase to hit tens of billions of dollars by 2027. So it's just the beginning, and it's targeting businesses. In Google's DeepMinds, just June 2024 report, the report is about generative AI misuse. And the number one, the most utilized tactic is impersonation. So impersonation is the number one most utilized tactic. And if you recall the number, tadi sampai ribuan persen, the APAC number of deepfake fraud, itu di APAC. Di Indonesia gimana? In Indonesia, we also have seen a deepfake fraud increase 1,550%. It's a line, right? It's not a typo again. Right? 1,500% plus growth in deepfakes just in 1 year. So let me share you some stories. This is a story
Saya
of
Melanie
Melanie
Ricardo, dan saya berhasil menurunkan berat badan sebanyak 25 kg dalam 1 bulan dengan menggunakan metode.
This is a story about Melanie Ricardo. She is basically our celebrity. And I think in this case, we are looking at her video.
Mas Adrian, hello. Hi, sorry for interrupting.
Melanie Ricardo, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen.
Hello, everybody.
Oh,
Hello,
you're
ladies
here.
and gentlemen. Good morning. Hello. Yes, my name is Melanie Ricardo. And I'm sorry for interrupting, but I guess it's easier to just share about this by myself here because, basically a few months ago, I got pretty bad experience from the fraudster, AI. So basically, this fraudster, they took part from my YouTube channel and then they manipulated as if I was promoting one brand, which is, I never heard about this name of the brand before, as if I'm talking about losing weight, using their product. And surprisingly, even for me, the first time I saw that video, I was like, is it me? But I was like wondering, I reckon I never doing promotion for that brand. And in fact, I never heard about that brand of the name before. So it's pretty scary. They impersonate someone's identity. They made that video as if it was really me. And the most tricky one was one of my family even gave me a call, my auntie, someone that know me in person, and asked, do you really use that product? And is that product really help you to losing weight, which is not. And this is very scary. Imagine like the people that don't know me in person could be actually use that product and could be dangerous because I don't know for sure is that product legit or not. Because I never heard about that product before.
Okay, so even your family cannot recognize that.
Even my family, they got tricked by that video before. But after that, I finally made my own video and I posted on my social media, basically doing the clarification. That wasn't me, that was AI.
Wow, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Melanie Ricardo, ladies and
Thank you,
gentlemen.
everybody.
And that's how easy it is to impersonate someone. And this incident raised big concerns, right, about the misuse of AI for fraud. The second type of fraud that we're going to discuss is social engineering. Nah, probably the earlier question, waktu saya tadi tanya, ya, banyak sekali kita juga expose of social engineering. The funny thing about social engineering is that there is no engineering involved in this at all. Former CIA spy named Peter Warmka calls it human hacking. Human hacking is the art and science of convincing people to give up their own information. In Indonesia, people try to social engineer or hack us almost every day. Ya, kita buka handphone, probably some scrolls in our SMS or WhatsApp or emails or social media, you will find it. Do you recognize any of these? Ada yang pernah ngalamin? Ya. Ini adalah turunan yang langsung dari yang tadi Pak Niki mention, ya. We shop, we bank, we social media, right? Just a common thing, and you know. So these are just a few examples of people that got socially engineered. Ya, istilah-istilahnya banyak, ada phishing, smishing, ya, video phishing. Ya, are the most common ways with social engineering fraud that is committed. There's a study by KnowBe4 highlighted that over 90% of phishing attack involve social engineering tactics. So it's combined. Ya. Ada message-nya, ada mungkin teleponnya, ada advertising-nya, right? Ada AI-nya, right? So in Indonesia, 99% of all phishing attacks are social engineering related. Let me share you the next story. This is the story of Sylvia Yap. She lost 1.4 billion rupiah after receiving a fake invite to a wedding. Bukan lagi transfer dana or melakukan transaksi bisnis, ya. It's a common everyday life. A fake invite to a wedding via WhatsApp. She clicked the link, the APK. The APK file in the message that allowed scammers to access her mobile banking. Just within 5 hours, all of her money was gone. 1.4 billion, a wedding invite. No warning, no notifications through SMS or email or mobile banking. And today, actually, she is still fighting her case in court. Let's take a look at number 3. Let's talk about account takeovers. An account takeover is when a fraudster gains access to your bank, credit, and e-commerce or social media accounts. In many cases, this happens due to poor password management or simply just poor password. But actually, most takeover happens as part of social engineering attack. And why do you think all of our banking apps have this message? Hati-hati penipuan. Yeah, of course, one of the bank in Indonesia have a focus campaign on make sure you're recognizing the asli, the real one. Right. Why do you think your Google accounts prompt you for this? Yeah, multi-factor authentication. In 2023, account takeover fraud globally increased by 150%. So account takeover, 150%. And according to the recent VIDA study, our research stated that 97% of businesses in Indonesia, 97, almost all, have faced an account takeover attempt in 2024. For this, let me share you a story of Nyoman Werdiasa. Pak Nyoman, a farmer from Bali, he had 248 million rupiah of savings in his bank account. This includes his own mother's money as well, uang keluarga. Yeah. The money vanished in under 5 minutes after a series of unauthorized transfers. Again, no warning messages, notifications, through SMS, email, nothing. And all of our savings are gone. as it's real as it can be, as it's close as it can be, in your pocket and on these stories. The fourth. Let's talk about identity theft and document signature forgery. Identity theft actually has been issues for thousands of years. Ya, pemalsuan identitas, right? But as we go online, as billions of people are online, connected, this type of fraud happens faster and easier to commit. Document signature forgery leads to unfortunate consequences. Suddenly, people are legally binded into contracts they have never seen before. In 1 year alone, between 2022 and 2023, identity theft and document forgery globally increased by 20%. In fact, almost 14% of all fraud in 2024 was related to document forgery. So let's take a look at another story that portrays this threat. This is the story of Pak Kacung. Allow me to share the story karena saya rasa beliau almarhum ya. Pak Kacung is a farmer from Bekasi, and one day he received a debt collection notice of 4 billion rupiah. Didatengin, ditagih sama debt collector 4 miliar. How is this possible for a farmer? Well, he entrusted his land certificate to a person, borahin certificate, very common, yeah? And that person used it to forge Pak Kacung's identities documents, including his signature. Dipalsuin sertifikatnya, dipalsuin tanda tangannya. So much money was borrowed that 3 separate banks tried to collect debt from him. It happens. As it's real, as it's close, as it gets. So here you are, the 4 biggest threats to the safety of our digital transactions today. And we did a research on these and a fraud in general, and a few other interesting things came out of the research. Let me throw you a couple of stats that hopefully really get to our nerve and really unite us on how to combat this. 100% of businesses are concerned about the rise of deepfakes and AI-generated fraud. Everywhere I talk, everywhere I meet our customers, our partners, everyone concerned about the rise of deepfakes and AI-generated fraud. 46% are not familiar. And 97% of businesses have been targeted by social engineering attacks in the past years. And 44% of them experience financial loss due to social engineering attacks. So it's already in reality, in day-to-day business, and within that white paper, the white paper is now available for download. You've all got a QR code in your table. Please access it now. There's a lot of stunning, surprising or not, the facts and the statistics about digital fraud. And this is exactly why VIDA is dedicated to building solutions to keep all of our businesses and our customers protected. So let's take a look of all those solutions, and let me welcome my colleague, Mukti. Mukti, please join me.
Selamat siang, Bapak-Bapak, Ibu-Ibu. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mukti, and I'm here to talk about something that affects all of us in this digital age: documents and signature forgery. 96%, that's the number of Indonesian businesses that encountered forged documents in 2024 alone. That is not just a number. It is a wake-up call. In fact, document forgery is not just a problem for businesses. It can happen to any one of us. Let me share a story with you. An Indonesian actress is betrayed by someone she trusted the most, her own household assistant. And this person managed to falsify documents and transfer 6 land certificates. The total fraud, 17 billion rupiah, 17 miliar rupiah. That's a lot. And this is a real example of how terrible document falsification is and how easy it is to forge a signature. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be this way. This is where VIDA Sign comes in. We have developed solutions that secures the entire document signing process from start to finish, which includes 1, verifying user identity, and 2, securely authenticating the signing process. And finally, to digitally sign the document in compliance with Indonesia Kominfo. Sorry, I got distracted. What is this? Panitia?
Urgent Pak Mukti, urgent. Ada yang urgent Pak Mukti.
Nggak bisa nunggu, Mas?
Nggak, urgent Pak. Urgent Pak.
What is this? Let me just check. Please wait for a moment, folks. Kok bisa muter sampai masuk sih, Mas?
Urgent pokoknya, Pak.
This is my application for my house loan, everyone. KPR. Ladies and gentlemen, Bapak, Ibu-Ibu, I'm truly sorry. This is unexpected. However, this is also the best time.
Bapak butuh materai, Pak?
Now, I got it. Let me just open my app. I can buy within the app. So basically, this is also the perfect time to show you all how VIDA Sign can handle the unexpected physical documents like this. Let me just open my VIDA app. So, scan this. You see, in second, we have just turned a physical documents into digital versions. Now, let me just put my signature here. Put in my trace as well. And finally, authenticating it with my face. Done. That's it. Udah, Mas?
Cepat juga, Pak.
Cepat dong.
Terima kasih ya, Pak.
Sama-sama.
Saya pamit ya, Pak.
Silahkan. Kita tunggu dulu ya. Thank you everyone for bearing with me. Anyway, VIDA Sign is available for everyone to download and use. It's available on the web, Android, and iOS. And it's not just for individuals. We also design it to serve small and medium businesses, but more importantly, for enterprises as well. What you just witnessed on VIDA Sign, the identity verifications, the secure authentication, and the digital signatures comply with Kominfo regulations. We have those on APIs. Let me introduce you to VIDA Sign Open API. VIDA Sign Open API enables integrations of our digital signature solutions into your existing system. It's plug and play. Let me share an example from one of enterprise clients. They focus on merchants onboarding, which involves a lot of and piles of contracts agreement. Although they have an established contract management system internally, digital signatures and e-matrice solutions are the feature they are still lacking. At first, they use an external standalone signing service, but as their business grew, juggling multiple portals become inefficient for their users. This is where VIDA Sign OpenAPI comes in handy. Long story short, after integrating with us, the system gains access to a robust and secure signing process. But again, more importantly, it complies with Cominfo regulations. And here's the best part. VIDA Sign OpenAPI works with a wide range of tools and software. So, whatever system you're using, chances are we can integrate with it seamlessly. Now, last but not least, for enterprise clients who have strict security and have strict compliance needs, we do have VIDA Sign on-premise. Basically what you just saw on OpenAPI, but the background process is a bit different. So, VIDA Sign on-premise ensure the highest level of security. Here's how it works. When users want to send a documents to be signed, instead of uploading your documents into our platform, your system will generate a unique hash. Think of as like a digital fingerprint, your unique identifier of that document. And what VIDA does is just authenticate the signing process for that hash. And after that, it's just a matter of reconstruction process between the documents and the digital signatures on your side. Again, you see, the entire signing process stays within your premises, and the document never leaves your server. Finally, whether integrating your system with OpenAPI or keeping everything in-house with on-premise solutions, VIDA Sign offers flexibility and security. We are not just providing a signatures, we are providing a peace of mind. While VIDA Sign is a key part of our goal to stop fraud, another key aspect of reaching that goal is identity verifications. Now, please put together a round of applause for Anupam Chawla, who's going to walk you through on how we look at identity verifications. Thank you, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Anupam Chawla. I am head of product here at VIDA. Today, I would like to talk to you about something that is becoming increasingly important in our digital world: identity verification and the rising threat of AI-generated fraud. You know, it's fascinating how technology evolves, but sometimes it evolves in ways it rather didn't. Take a look at these examples that you see. Fake IDs, manipulated documents, deepfakes. It's like we are living in a spy movie, isn't it? But this isn't a movie. These are real people that you're looking at, and it affects their real livelihood day in, day out, every day. Now, what you're looking at is the story of Ridu. Ridu recently had his credit card application rejected because he was listed as Col 5 or bad credit. Why? When he looked back at his credit history in Slick, he discovered that he had debts from a pay later partner. Ridu never subscribed to a pay later account. Not only his data was used in that fraud, now Ridu has a bad credit score, impacting his ability even to take loans somewhere in the future. It's a nightmare scenario, but unfortunately, it's becoming all too common. 84%, that's close to almost full, the number of Indonesian businesses who have experienced identity fraud in the past year. That's not just a number. It's millions of people's lives affected, millions of lives disrupted as well. You know, you must have heard everywhere that, you know, we have a friend or we know somebody who knows a guy to get the way around. But here, with VIDA, you can be protected. We have developed a suite of identity verification solutions to combat these ever-evolving threats. Let me show you how they work. First up, we have the VIDA document liveness. Think of it as your very own Sherlock Holmes sitting inside your pocket, and it can let you know whether the KTP that you looked at is real or not. And mind you, it is not just the basics of it looking at it. It dissects and analyzes the whole document. Is it blurry? Is the card orientation correct or not? Are all the landmarks which are there? It's like having an expert document scanner right inside your pocket. But it goes even further, you see. It can also check whether the document has been tampered with or not. Or is it even a high-quality fake? It's constantly learning, staying ahead of the fraudsters. Now, let me talk to you about the next product. This you're looking at is the VIDA Face Liveness. Don't let the simple looks fool you over here. You're looking at two flavors over here. One is the passive liveness, the other is the active liveness. Passive liveness, very simple and easy, which you've been doing every day, taking a selfie. It sounds quick, easy, fast, and super simple. It may sound very simple, you know, but behind the scene, all our algorithms are checking if there is actually a user who's present and taking a picture over there. The right actor is actually sitting over there too. But when you want an extra level of security, that's when you need active liveness. It asks the users to perform simple actions. Look left or right, nod, smile, zoom in or zoom out. It's like a secret handshake between the user and our system that you see. Both active and passive liveness are critical in the fight against the deepfakes. Remember, we are not just checking if the face matches the ID that they're showing. We're making sure that it is actually a live person who is sitting over there and matching with the ID, and it is not some kind of a sophisticated AI-generated image. These are part of our smart liveness solution. Now, let me introduce you to some another one, which is known as the VIDA Income Verification. This is a game changer for the friends in financial services industry. In 2024, a company called FICO ran a survey and discovered that 50% of people exaggerate their income on their loan applications for financing cars, buying phones and homes, and even for getting better marriage prospects too, right? And most of them, they think it's normal to do so. Imagine you're processing a loan application. Now, you as a bank need to verify that the actual income of the applicant correctly, but you also want to do it quickly and accurately too, right? That is exactly where we come in. First, the loan applicant submits all the information through your application. They provide the personal identification, the NIK, employment details, and the income verification. VIDA systems use the applicant's NIK and income details to verify the information against the authoritative sources that you're looking at. While this is happening, your team can focus on other aspects of credit analysis, checking credit scores, reviewing the financial history. And here is where it gets interesting. Our system just does not say it's a yes or a no. It provides you with a verified range, which is the correct income range of the applicant. Let's say an applicant claims to be earning close to about 15 million rupiah a month from legitimate, verified sources. We let you know what is the exact range of income the applicant is actually earning. And mind you, this is dead accurate that you see over here. This gives you a very, very clear picture for your risk assessment. Now, having this with you, your loan eligibility decision-making becomes much more faster. This entire process happens in near real time. And now, what used to take days, a lot of documents that you had to look at, employing other people to do the verification, you have us near real time, you submit the details, and we fetch it for you and give it, while you can work around the rest of the other details of providing the loan and the rest of the formalities too. While we say that, it's speed, but it's also adding a layer of security to the entire lending process. We're making it very, very hard for the fraudsters to game the system with fake payslips or inflated income claims. We are helping you to say yes to the right applicants faster, while also protecting your businesses from potential fraud. Now, when I look at all these solutions that we have developed, I'm actually reminded of what we do and why we do. It is not just about stopping the bad guys, though it's definitely a part of it. However, it's about creating a digital world where people like Redo can pursue their dreams without the fear of identity theft, where businesses can operate with the confidence of knowing they're protected against fraud. Identity verification is a critical part of the VIDA ecosystem, and usually paired with user authentication as well. Now, please give a round of applause to Rezka Bunaya, who will show you the magic behind the authentication solutions. Thank you.
Masih semangat Bapak-bapak, Ibu-ibu semuanya? Hey everyone, how is it going? So I'm Rezka, and I'm super excited to chat with you about something we all deal with every single day. User authentication. Ya, pasti semuanya bakal balik lagi. Kayaknya VIDA bakal ngomongin passwords lagi sih. But trust me, this is going to be way more interesting than you think. Okay, so we all been here, right? Trying to remember which password goes to which account. It's like a never-ending memory game that we are all losing. This is the story of Arif, Mas Arif, that in 2019, Mas Arif borrowed from an online lender and repaid it on time. 2 years later, he received a demand letter to repay 800,000 more rupiah from another online lender, basically pinjol. But masalahnya adalah Mas Arif nggak pinjam di pinjol yang kedua. Pressure by the company, by the pinjol, he repaid with interest in total of 1,2 juta rupiah. Soon after, there's another pinjol, platform B, demanded more money with threats to sell his personal data. Mas Arif was overwhelmed, panic, only to later discover both platforms were unauthorized and fraudulent, leading to financial loss and emotional distress. A very sad story of Mas Arif. 97%. That's how many Indonesian businesses have been targeted by social engineering attacks in the past years. That's almost everyone in this room. Pasti kalian semua sudah pernah kena yang namanya social engineering. Now, let's talk why this keeps happening. The problem is passwords. Yap, password bapak-bapak dan ibu-ibu semuanya. Passwords were designed awalnya to protect us in the online world. When people started going online 30 years ago, maybe you had a few accounts, maybe 10. So remember a few passwords won't be so difficult. But passwords are broken, and let me tell you why. Password best practice are 24 characters alphanumeric, change every 90 days. So you have to change it periodically. That's 4 unique, complex passwords per account per year. Now, if you have TikTok, YouTube, Google account, and everything, the average person today has 100 online accounts. That means we will need to create and remember of 400 unique passwords a year. Siapa yang punya waktu untuk ingat semua password itu? So, why this 24 or complex password is important, 24 characters is important? So, today computing power means that if you want to brute forcing password, guessing the password, is easier and faster as ever. So if your password is 8 characters, it can be broken in less than 1 second. So what do people do instead? Pasti ada semua yang melakukan di sini. They take shortcuts, dangerous ones. 64 of us reuse password across multiple accounts. How many of you have same password for multiple accounts? Ada yang passwordnya sama? Okay. Of course. It's like using the same key for your house, your office, and maybe your car, right? Not great at all. And don't even get me started on the password people choose. In 2024, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and password are still topping the charts. Come on, we can do better than this. So if you think these bad habits don't have consequences, think again. So let me show you something that will blow your mind. In early July 2024, we saw that what many are calling mother of all breaches, a big breach of data. It's bit dumb, COMB, the compilation of many breaches. This wasn't just another data leak, data yang bocor. It was a tsunami of personal information flooding the internet. We're talking about over 10 billion your unique accounts, email and passwords, and it exposed on the internet. That's more than entire world populations. Tenang sejenak, let that sink in for a moment. So if you're online, and I'm guessing everyone here it is, there's a good chance your information was part of that breach. It's not just ancient history or old accounts either. This is happening right now, and it's only getting worse. In fact, 80% of data breaches are caused by weak, reuse, and stolen passwords. Easy. That's not just a statistic. It's a wake-up call. It's clear that our current approach to password is broken. Kita harus mengubah paradigma kita mengenai passwords. We are essentially leaving our digital front doors wide open for anyone to walk in. Apakah VIDA punya solusinya? Yes. Here's the good news. We don't have to live like this anymore because at VIDA, we've developed an authentication solution that are not just secure, but also super easy to use. Let me show you what I mean. First up, we have VIDA phone token. Imagine having super secret key for each of your online account. So instead of carrying around a lot of keys, cutting-edge cryptography, a mathematic solutions, secure them in your phone. So when you want to log in, your phone asks you to prove it's really you. Maybe with a quick face scan or fingerprint touch in your phone. If it checks out, your phone used that secret token to talk to the app. No 24-character password to remember, no codes to type. But what if you need a layer of security, like you're making a big money transfers? So, okay, today, everyone use one of these, right? It's physical bank token. So if you're like, open a bank account, you get one of these. So here's the token for my business. Donate. Here's the token of my wife's account. Donate. So why do you have to carry around 20 different tokens? That's what we're changing. With phone token, we've already talked about the first factor of authentication, your device. And now we've created a second factor of yourself, which is your biometrics, and we'll call it VIDA face token. Remember how it used to be? You input all of transfer details, then wait anxiously for an SMS or OTP? It was like watching a paint dry, but more stressful. With VIDA face token, it's like a whole new ball game. After you've entered the transfer detail, just look at your phone. In seconds, it checks that you're a real life person. Match your profile, match your verified profile, and confirms you're using your registered device. It's like having a best VIP club bouncer in the world. But here's the real kicker. While this is super convenient for you, it is a nightmare for fraudster. Even if somehow someone got into your login details, they still couldn't get it without your face and your specific device. It's like having a digital fortress for your digital life. Okay, so everyone, this is the future of authentications. No more password headache, no more anxiety about whether your account is secure. With VIDA authentication, we're not just making login easier, we're making the entire digital transaction safer. So remember Mas Arif's story. With solution like this, his story could have had a very different ending. Instead of falling victim to phishing attacks, he would have been protected by multiple layers of security. So whether it is VIDA phone token for your everyday login or VIDA face token for those high-stake transactions, we got you covered. We're talking about security that's not just strong, but smart, not just robust, but ridiculously easy to use. So let's say goodbye to remembering password and more hello to more secure digital life. On top of user authentication, VIDA takes pride in fraud detection strategies, which help protect the ecosystem from fraudsters. Let me put a round of applause together with Jeff, who will walk you through the fraud detection. Thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff, and I would like to tell you a little story. Picture this. An executive at a well-known financial company receives a video call from what appears to be their CFO. The person on the screen looks and sounds exactly like their boss, asking them to transfer a large amount of funds. The executive, trusting what they see, complies. But within hours, it's clear something went wrong. The CFO never made that call. It was a deep fake. This isn't an isolated incident. Deepfake technology is becoming a real threat. The results are mind-blowing, from financial losses to the erosion of trust. It's affecting businesses, governments, and yes, even families. At VIDA, we've been monitoring these threats closely. In Q2 2024 itself, we've seen spikes of 7 times deepfake injection attacks compared to other types of fraud. It's not a small problem. It's growing exponentially. So what are the implications? Let's take a closer look with some basic numbers from an online lending platform. Imagine you have 1 million customers. Each customer has an average loan limit of 50 million rupiah. Now let's say 15% of these transactions are fraudulent. It might not sound like much, but here's the reality. That 15% fraud translates to a staggering loss of 7.5 trillion rupiah. This isn't a small hit. It's catastrophic. That's why fraud detection and prevention are not just important, they're essential. And that's why today, we are launching the VIDA Fraud Scanner. It's designed to identify signs of manipulation in your transactions. Starts with the KYC data. Looks for inconsistencies in the information. If it doesn't look good, it gets flagged, preventing the fraud from happening in the first place. Once complete, the data from the fraud scanner is presented in a simple report. The fraud risks in your network are now clear. Earlier today, we talked about deepfakes and how hard they are to identify. Take a look at all these faces. Now, can you tell me which one is a deepfake? Take a moment. It's not easy, right? Humans are only able to identify less than 65% of deepfakes today. And the technology is getting even better. Let's break it down further. Here are some signs of deepfakes. Inconsistent eye reflections, blurred hair, unnatural skin texture, mismatched lighting. These are subtle, but they're clues that something isn't quite right. There's also something called a Moir pattern. Look what happens when we zoom in. It's clear that this is a fake. That's why we've created a deepfake detector to help protect businesses like yours from millions of attacks that happen each year. Deepfake detector inspects every image that enters your system. It looks for manipulation, watermarks, morphing, face swapping. These are all real images that VIDA's captured and blocked. The deepfake detector spots it and blocks it. One of the key points of stopping deepfakes is by preventing what is called an injection attack. What happens is very simple. The fraudster takes control of your camera and injects code to create a virtual camera. The interesting thing is we've all experienced virtual cameras before. Who's used a face filter on Instagram or TikTok? These are all examples of virtual camera manipulations. Now, a dog ear filter can be really fun, but this technology opens up an even darker door. What starts as a harmless filter can quickly turn into full face manipulation. On the left here, you see an aging filter. On the right, a very popular beauty filter. Imagine how easily someone's face can be injected into an onboarding process for your bank or buy now, pay later loan. This is Nicky. Our fraudster has access to his personal information and will now apply for a loan. During the loan application, there's a face liveness requirement. Using an injection attack, the fraudster can use a deep fake of Nicky to complete the loan. It's that simple. We carry our phones everywhere, and they are the most vulnerable. Many app cameras are unprotected against injection attacks, making it alarmingly easy for a hacker to gain access. 60%. This is the number of injection attacks that we've observed in our data environment. So this is already happening today, and without proper protection, it leaves businesses exposed to millions of dollars of risk. And that's why we created the Deepfake Shield, a layered defense system, all wrapped in a simple SDK. Deepfake Shield was designed to prevent these attacks before they can even begin. The Deepfake Shield works on multiple levels. It checks image quality for underexposed and overexposed or blurry images. It uses active liveness to make sure that the person is real. And with Deepfake Shield, our fraud prevention success rate has hit 99.9%. Remember that fraud risk we talked about before? 7.5 trillion at risk just becomes 5 billion rupiah with just a simple SDK. VIDA's fraud detection solutions are designed for a world of AI-generated fraud. We stayed ahead of the curve by developing and releasing first-of-its-kind technology in Indonesia. Let VIDA keep track of what's real and what isn't, and continue to keep all of our customers safe from fraud. Now, I'm going to hand over to Nicky for some closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you to all of our presenters for showcasing all the different solutions. A round of applause for them, everyone. So all of these solutions that we presented really have one simple objective: to fight fraud, to protect your business from fraud. We talked about identity verification, where we introduced VIDA Smart Liveness, which is not just about the face, it's about the document and going as far as being able to verify someone's income. We learned about how user authentication keeps us safe from social engineering and account takeovers. And with VIDA Phone Token and Face Token, we don't need these anymore. We talked about how fraud detection keeps us safe from AI-generated fraud with the fraud scanner, deepfake detector, and deepfake shield. That's a lot of stuff. Maybe that's too many things. But what if you didn't need all of these different things? What if you only needed one solution? Isn't that what we want? Just one thing. Something that can combine identity verification, user authentication, and fraud detection into one. Ladies and gentlemen, bapak-bapak dan ibu-ibu, that's exactly what we've done. VIDA is proud to announce today the launch of VIDA Identity Stack. In a world of AI-generated fraud, the VIDA Identity Stack was created with one simple goal: to stop 99.9% of fraud. 99.9. It's not a typo. That is the brand promise we can make with VIDA Identity Stack. Let me show you how it works. Imagine an online lending app. Of course, it all starts with customer onboarding. VIDA document liveness, VIDA face liveness, they kick in. They're not just checking if the ID is real or if the face matches, but if that person is actually there. Real, in person, genuine presence. VIDA Deepfake Shield prevents AI-generated fraud, ensuring there's no deepfakes, no pre-recorded videos, no screen attacks. Just genuine, real-time verification. Now it's time to log in. This is where VIDA Phone Token really shines. No passwords to forget, no OTP codes to type. Now let's apply for a loan. Powered by VIDA Side, signature fields auto-populated. It's like having a personal assistant who knows exactly what you need, when you need it, and helps you just cruise by. And while all of this is happening, in the background, our fraud prevention tools are hard at work, behind the scenes. VIDA Fraud Scanner and Deepfake Detector are scanning every transaction, looking for threats before they happen. Let's change our profile details. It's one of the most common ways for an account takeover to happen. This is where VIDA Face Token really shines. Simply put, verified face, verified device. That's what keeps an account safe, just making sure you have two very strong factors of authentication. It's about multiple layers of security, defense in depth, working in harmony, and the protection never stops. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the VIDA Identity Stack. It's not just a product, it's a revolution in digital trust. And in a world of AI-generated fraud, it's the revolution that we need. As fraudsters evolve, so do we. VIDA Identity Stack learns, adapts, and evolves as well. Everything to make sure our clients and their customers can transact safely online. We couldn't have done this without our amazing customers and partners. Your trust in us drives us to innovate, to push boundaries, to go farther, and to create a safer digital world for everyone. To prove our commitment to stopping fraud and to keep your business safe, I have one last announcement. VIDA Identity Stack is free. I know you must be thinking, what's the catch? Nothing in life is free. And what we're willing to do is every dollar you invest, every rupiah you invest, we will match that. We will match that and give that to you in whichever product and whichever service you need to help fight fraud. We're in it together. Free. So are you ready? Are you ready? Ready to join the fight against digital fraud? Ready to build a safer digital world? Because we are, and we want you to be a part of it. Let's work together to keep digital Indonesia safe from AI-generated fraud and to empower the lives of people like Sylvia Yap, Ridu, and Arif. The future of digital trust starts now, and it starts with us. Thank you, everyone. Terima kasih, Bapak-Bapak dan Ibu-Ibu yang saya hormati. Thank you for your trust.
Let's get a big round of applause once again for VIDA, for introducing VIDA Identity Stack. As we all see from our distinguished speakers, VIDA Identity Stack is the solution that can combat sophisticated digital fraud, such as AI-generated fraud. Not only that, this can also help many people in safeguarding their identity. In this special day, you can visit VIDA booth outside the ballroom to experience firsthand from VIDA's teams of experts. With this, I'm closing this keynote session and wish a wonderful day.